lot of traffic today. Air traffic, motorcycle traffic, the whole thing. You guys, yesterday I did a video doing swatches of my bronzers and comparing them to the Jones Road. And I didn't do my makeup on screen, but I got several compliments. And so I thought I would do the look. I actually love the look. Sometimes when I sit down and do my makeup, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And that was yesterday, and I liked the results. So we're going to start with foundation. So I have the House Labs in 160, which I haven't been wearing as much lately because I fell in love with the Suq, and then I got another shade in the Clé de Peau, and I thought I need to try this again. And I had tried it, and I really saw, because the light is a little bit different, you know, I bought it in November, I think. I really saw the peachiness, and I thought this shade, not so much. And so a couple of times I mixed it with this, which is in Quartz, and I was actually going to throw this away because this shade isn't quite right for me either. But together they weren't bad. But I thought, let me get a couple of samples, and I better understand how they do their shades now. It's really confusing, but I got two shades. I got 210 and 200, and yesterday I used 210. I feel like, for me personally, the shade of your foundation just is the most important thing, because you will look makeup-y. It won't look like your skin. It won't look pretty, as far as I'm concerned, if your shade is wrong. But it's very hard to get a shade that's exactly right for you, and it's really hard, and I'm going to do a video to even know what your shade is. I've come to the conclusion of late that as long as the undertone is right, you can fake something that's a little too light or a little bit too dark. And I think the undertone to 210 works for me. So we're gonna put that on. Now, samples kind of wear a little bit differently because, you know, they don't necessarily shake the bottle every time. I don't think they do shake the bottle every time. So the texture might be a little bit different than what it would be like when you buy it, but it's really about the color. And this color, a little dark for me. And the amount of foundation that I have put on, probably too much, because I think I use, it's been such a while, I think I just use maybe one pump for most of my face. You get a lot of coverage with this. And when you have a sample, you're probably putting too much on. So I'm just going to do it with my fingers initially. And I already have my sunscreen on. I'm wearing the, what am I wearing? The Can Make. There you go. I knew I'd get there. And I'll just go over it with the BK Beauty brush to make sure I've got everything I need covered. So there she is. Now yesterday I pulled it down my neck because it's a discernible difference. And one thing I really like about the House Labs foundation is it is pretty transfer proof once you set it. Yesterday I put this on around, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning, and last night I hadn't washed my face until, I don't know, 11:30. I looked in the mirror in the living room, the magnifying mirror that I used to keep in there for tweezing, and I just still keep it in there, and I think it's a 5X. And my skin looked amazing. This had not broken up. It looked beautiful. My eyeshadow, you know, my lids, I guess, got a little oily. So the eyeshadow, the color was there, but it was kind of all over the place, which I don't mind. And even the blush, oddly enough, was still there, which is really saying something. And none of the foundation transferred to my neck. None. So I really like that. Now it looks a little bit more cohesive. Today I didn't do a white balance, so we're testing that, because for years I didn't do a white balance. I tried white balances and it made things look really strange, but for the past couple of months, when it started getting really cloudy, I started doing white balancing. And now that it's really sunny, I'm like, maybe I don't need to. I think it's going to be okay. I think it looks like what it looks like in real life, but it's a little bit too dark. I think in the summer this might work for me, so I went over in the T area with the Clé de Peau. So this is the Clé de Peau concealer in vanilla, and it's just too drying under the eyes. But I thought I need to use this. I've had it for a while. And why don't I use it here? And I will just say that concealers for your quote-unquote highlighting on older skin can be dangerous. And again, I'll say it again, this looked better as the day moved on. But I didn't put too much on, and it just will help to adjust this foundation, which I think the undertone's good, but the depth of tone a little too much for me. And that's a nice little fix. And then if you want to, go over with a beauty blender and just make sure every inch of your face is covered and blended. This foundation is very, very beautiful on the skin. There is alcohol in it, which isn't my favorite thing in the world, but that's what makes it, I believe, transfer proof. So you do what you have to do. I don't wear it every day, obviously, because I'm into other things right now. Going on with the Tom Ford, and you know, I gotta do my lips. My lips are making me nuts. I shot a video the other day, and I spent hours editing it yesterday, and the light was so bad. I'm like, I don't know if I want to post it, because the look was so pretty in real life, but on film, not so much. So I got a little bit of foundation there. I'm gonna get that out of the way. And this is in the shade Cream. And I like doing it with my fingers, although they say you should do it with a brush, more specifically a brush of theirs. My review, I will post right here of this. But this also, just, it didn't crease all day long. It was, I'm obsessed with this. It's so good on my skin anyway. All right, so there is my base. Next thing I did was I went in with the new Pat McGrath Velvet Liaison, and I will post the video I did on that right here. But in that video, I did not use this warmer color because it scares me. It scares me a lot. I don't like warm colors, but I found, I mean, I can do warm colors. One of my favorite palettes is no longer being made from Viseart that is very, very warm and not orangey, really. But it's not my jam. I'm going to start here. When I put this on yesterday, it just didn't read that warm on my skin. And this is my Hakuhodo brush, linked below. And I'm using this as my transition. So my lids have a little bit of dampness on them. I'm just pretty much going to put it all over the lid. It's a really fast look. And I love that there's a cream in here. I'm just going to dip into that cream shade. So if you are gotten a little higher than you want to get, or you want to continue to diffuse, but when you diffuse, the color gets higher, you can go in with a cream color and kind of knock that back. And now I'm going to, I think this is a Wayne Goss brush, pick up this warmer color here. See, when I get that on, it's like, oh, it doesn't have that orangey thing to it. It's just like a warm brown. And I'm just kind of placing it initially, and then wipe off the brush. and do a blend. So I'm just going to go really lightly, softly, and circular motions. So I guess we'll do a little tutorial here while we're at it, you guys. There's a lot of videos that we've all seen where people just go voop, 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 windshield wiper motions. And they end up being there for a long time. And I have noticed if I'm not precise in my blending, I have to keep on blending because I'm not actually hitting where I want to. So look at your eyes, your face, the whole thing as a canvas. And this is your paintbrush. You know, instead of voop, 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 very specifically, what do I want to do? I want to keep my color there in the area where I placed it, but I just want to blend it out so there's no jumping or skipping. So take a little time, let your brush do the work, but the brush can't do the work if you don't lay it down in the right place. A little tip. Boom. That is going to be all I do for eyeshadow. I'm just going to do the other side. And that's it, you guys. That's it for my eyeshadows. It's 2 colors. When I did that video, I used as many colors as possible to show you what they look like when they're applied. But 2 colors is plenty. It gives me the shape that I need. It has a little bit of warmth to it, but not a whole lot of warmth. And if you haven't been here before, my eyes are uneven, so they will never, ever, 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 ever look like I'm wearing the same eyeshadow on each side. You know what I mean. The birds are out, as are the woodpeckers. It is spring. Everything's blooming right now. The cherry trees, I don't know if it's cherry trees or almond trees, but those white, lovely blossoms. And when I was walking Grace the other day, there was a little bit of wind that picked up, and all these, I was right by one of those trees, and the petals were falling all over the place, and it was just like a little piece of magic in my day. Love. So if you are living in a cold weather situation, it will end. It will end. So I got this in my Will I Buy It video. I talked about this blush from Vive. I'm not sure if it's Vive. I think it is. It's Genevieve or Genevieve. I'm not sure, but she is a Scottish YouTuber, and she has her own line. And I put just a little bit, and then I'm going to spread it out a little bit before I pick it up with my brush. And this is a Refer 37. And just, you know, check out your brush and make sure it's kind of even. And it's not, so I'm just going to take a little off. Really, really, really pretty color. I love this. I've worn it several times since I bought it, and this is the first time I've talked about it. And what I like is, of the colors that she has, they're a little bit different. And if you've been here before, you've heard me say when I talk about Will I Buy It, blushes, blah, 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 I said, give me something I don't have. It doesn't have to be wildly different. I don't want a blue blush, but, you know, if every line is doing the same colors, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And this color is something I don't have. Now I'm just going to go over with a beauty blender, just in case I did a little too much. With this foundation color, it looks really supernatural, I think. And I'm going to go over it just to get a little bit of pink with this Chanel Water Fresh blush. Disperse on the hand, and I have to spread it out to break those little spears, the color spears. Pick it up with the same brush. This color is not super pink, even though it's called light pink, but it will help me a little bit. And where'd the Beauty Blender go? Because it's so watery, I don't want to mess around too much with it with a brush, because I'm afraid it might remove the Vive or my foundation. So apply with the brush and then go over with a Beauty Blender. I cannot tell you how deeply I am in love with this Legendary Brow because I have been using a serum to grow my brows, and they're really, really small, the new hairs. And this helps me to catch them. Although, truth be told, you guys, I really need to use a magnifying mirror that's up here. I need a really big one to see all those hairs. So for today, I'm just going to run this through. A little bit of liner, going to go in with the Cave, well, the color Cave in the Hourglass, and do a little bit of tight line, waterline, whatever this is. You can tell me, but I will forget it instantly. I have a block when it comes to this. Any mascara you want to do, I have a couple of favorites right now, and one of them is the Push Up from Charlotte Tilbury, and I like also the color, but this gives me a very fluttery, realistic look as opposed to something more dramatic. But I really love this fluttery kind of look that I have here. It's just really soft. I get the lashes, but there's nothing clumping, there's nothing heavy. It doesn't look like false eyelashes, but it does the job in a really nice kind of natural way. It's a brown that has a little bit of red in it, but not a lot. But it will set up and complement blue eyes, green eyes, gray eyes in the prettiest way. Super, super simple. Okay, I'm a little shiny, and it is time to do some powder. I'm almost out of my By Terry powder. I think I can last until the spring sales. Powder is another place where you can help correct a foundation that doesn't work for you, but only if you put powder all over your face. So if you're like me and you just kind of put it on the cheeks, the center of the face, not going to help too much unless you use it for brightening. So when I did this the other day, that is exactly what I did do. I used my Kosas powder in Airy, which is light and it imparts some color where the By Terry doesn't impart any color, and that helped me out a little bit, but I think I'm going to be fine. Start on the outside, since I just reloaded before I go in the inside, and that will also help from mascara kind of smudging. Just a little bit. I like a little sheen on my nose, actually. Kind of acts like a highlighter, but I don't want it too sheeny. Okay, so I'm actually, fine with this being my look, just do a lip, but I did use the bronzer, so I'm going to do the bronzer. I just wiped this off, although I didn't clean it properly, and in the video I really went a little too ham. It's just that I like to coat my brush evenly and then take off, and I didn't take off well enough. So taking some of that off, it's easier to build than to blend. And instead of doing one side of my face and then re-dipping, I think it's better to do like the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Then a little here, and then pull down. And now just blend it a little bit. And it just adds a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to reload. Top cheekbones, which is where I get tan when I get tan. Whatever's left, down here. So you're doing that three. And then lip. So for lip, I went in with the new Hourglass, what is it called? Unlocked lipsticks in Larch. I was calling it Lurch. I thought, I don't know, maybe Lurch is a bird. I mean, I think of, Lurch. And when I did, I felt like this color is a little too dark. These are so comfortable though. So I was thinking a little too much, so I blot it off. You can blot off with your finger or a tissue. And that would be pretty much it, you guys. Telling you, if you want something long lasting, this will look not exactly the same because the lipstick will definitely fade. And the blush will fade a little bit, but the blush was still on last night, 12 hours later. The eyeshadows kind of, you know, all the blinking, I'm hooded, everything rubs. I didn't do any prime. There was still color up here, but not necessarily where I put it. And that's fine. But the mascara was fine. I don't think I wore this mascara yesterday though. But yeah, it's another nude face look, but this one is a little bit warmer without being too terribly warm. And I ended up really liking that. And now my monitor, see, my camera adjusts for light. So when the hair comes down, it's reading all this darkness. Now, if I have my blondness in front, it'll readjust that too. It's looking a little icy. I think I'm going to do a white balance and show you the final look with a white balance. There we go. This is much closer to what I'm seeing. So this was kind of a test for me about white balance, and apparently I need to do it because what I'm seeing in the monitor much better reflects the colors that I'm seeing on the face. And yeah, it's a little darker than my skin tone, but I feel that the undertone is working for me a lot. And if I wanted to, I could just, you know, add a lip gloss or add a little bit of color that is a bit different. Ooh, I could also tone it down with this. I didn't do this yesterday. This is from NARS, and it's always sold out. It comes in stock and it goes. It's little mute it, just the teeniest bit. If you find that the larch, really, what is a larch? Somebody tell me. It must be a bird or a fish, because other things are called, no, because oasis, right? And tide, those are in two different places. So larch or lurch or whatever you want to call it, if it's a little bit too deep, you could tap, you could do something like this to mute it a little bit. That's also really comfortable. And you guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hey, consider giving me a thumbs up maybe follow me on Instagram, where I don't consistently post, but I'm trying to. And I'm at _hooded_lid over there. And I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe and smart, and I'm wishing you good health.